Imagine a family so powerful, so wealthy, that they bankrolled empires, crowned popes, and transformed a city-state into the cradle of the Renaissance. They were the Medici, and their name was synonymous with money, art, and absolute power. But even the mightiest trees can fall. And when the world's first true bankers lost everything, it wasn't just a family that collapsed. It was a lesson etched in the very fabric of history. Our story begins not with swords and battles, but with ledgers and florins. In the heart of 14th century Florence, Giovanni de' Medici laid the groundwork for what would become an unprecedented financial dynasty. Unlike the feudal lords of old, the Medici understood a new kind of power: credit. They loaned money to kings, to merchants, and most crucially, to the Pope himself. Their bank wasn't just a local establishment. It was a sprawling international network, an intricate web of branches stretching from London to Bruges, Venice to Geneva. Florence, under their influence, blossomed into a vibrant hub of commerce and culture. Cosimo de' Medici, Giovanni's son, known as Pater Patriae, father of the country, solidified their grip, skillfully navigating the treacherous waters of Florentine politics. He understood that true power lay not in overt kingship, but in patronage, influence, and the quiet control of the city's purse strings. The Medici Bank financed masterpieces by Michelangelo and Botticelli. They sponsored scientific advancements and philosophical discourse. They were, in essence, the venture capitalists of the Renaissance, investing in talent, innovation, and beauty, all while meticulously tracking every ducat and florin. Their empire was built on trust, liquidity, and a ruthless understanding of the market. But the very foundations of their power contained the seeds of their destruction. The Medici Bank operated on a model that would make modern regulators blanch. It was a partnership, but each branch was semi-independent, managed by partners whose loyalty could be swayed by ambition or greed. As the generations passed, the guiding hand that had built the empire began to falter. Lorenzo the Magnificent, despite his artistic brilliance, was more a statesman and patron than a shrewd banker. Under his tenure, personal and state funds blurred. Lavish spending on art, festivals, and political maneuvering drained the coffers. Risky, unsecured loans became more common. The largest debtor, the papacy. Lending to the Pope was a double-edged sword. Immense prestige, but also immense risk. Popes, after all, were not always the most reliable borrowers. One critical turning point was the Pazzi conspiracy of 1478, an assassination attempt on Lorenzo orchestrated by rival Florentine families, backed by the Pope himself. Lorenzo survived, but his brother Giuliano was murdered. The fallout was brutal, yet it forced Lorenzo to consolidate power even further, tightening his personal grip but further weakening the bank's structure. The rot truly set in after Lorenzo's death in 1492. His son, Piero the Unfortunate, lacked his father's acumen and charisma. He made a catastrophic error in aligning with Naples against France, then capitulated shamefully to the invading French king Charles VIII. The furious Florentine populace, tired of Medici arrogance and political blunders, revolted. In 1494, the family was exiled, their palaces sacked, their bank's assets seized. This wasn't the end of their story. The Medici would return to Florence, eventually establishing themselves as hereditary dukes. But the international banking empire, the vast network that had once spanned Europe, was shattered beyond repair. Key branches, particularly in London and Bruges, collapsed under the weight of bad debts and mismanagement. The family's focus shifted from finance to dynastic rule, from banking to monarchy. The grand dream of a global financial institution, born in the mind of Giovanni de' Medici, had dissolved. The fall of the Medici Bank is more than a historical footnote. It's a cautionary tale echoing through the centuries. Their collapse teaches us about the dangers of unchecked power, the seductive allure of excessive risk, and the fragility of even the most robust financial systems. The intertwining of personal wealth with corporate assets, the over-reliance on a single powerful debtor, the loss of skilled leadership. These are the same mistakes that have led to financial crises in 17th century Amsterdam 19th century New York, and even the global meltdown of 2008. The Medici showed the world how to make money, how to wield financial influence like no one before them. But in their hubris, they also showed us how quickly it can all vanish. For in the grand tapestry of human ambition, power, like wealth, is always on loan.